Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this, and you are tuned into the only sports podcast that was also offered the job at Grambling State and at Jackson State, but turned it down to try to go to Bethune-Cookman. This is another episode of It's a Black and White Thing with A1 and A Ward. You can check out every episode of the podcast by going to the podcast app of your choice, searching for Brains and Bars. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by going to, as my son goes wild on playing video games, by going to searching at Brains and Bars and following and subscribing there. We're live on YouTube. Once again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be in tune with all the content there. So normally I do this show with my homie A Ward, but he's not with us tonight. But in his absence, I am awardmerch.com for all things A Ward for his merch battles. He has a battle coming up February 4th in a couple of weeks against Big K on RBE. Make sure you guys cop the pay-per-view. Go check that out. And so in his stead tonight, I got someone who's going to join us. We have we've met once, but we've also been talking back and forth on Twitter. Good dude. He works for my money, the best battle rap media around. Now, everybody has their favorites, but they're my favorite. Let's talk battle rap. He is Titus. Titus, I'm gonna bring you up. If I can exit this solo layout. Titus, what's going on, my man?
What's up, bro? What's up, man? I appreciate the intro, dog. I'm glad we
Yes,
made
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. So Titus, Titus has a new article up on Let's Talk Battle Rap's website, detailing Murder Mook and the next potential 5 opponents for him. They're ranked from 5 to 1, and part based on their strength or how tough they would be. Is that right?
Yeah. We took in danger. It was really bad danger level, mega match, like impact of the matchup, things like that. That's really what I was going for. Yeah.
Yep. Also, Let's Talk Battle Rap. Shout out to the homie France. He just dropped a new article today detailing Mac Myron's new deal with URL and what kind of the path that he's taken with the brand. And also, Titus has a podcast of his own. Part of the reason we linked up for this kind of cross promotion is he has a podcast called Not the Experts.
Not the Experts. Yeah, that's it.
The Experts that he does. And then he also has his personal blog called the PK Chronicles. He did an excellent piece last year about suicide and depression. If I got that right. It's depression, not suicide. Forgive me.
And then he also has a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he also dropped an article at the end of 2022. He's kind of talking about 2023 and his hopes and dreams for us collectively as we push forward into the new year. So go and check all of those things out, man. I'm glad to have you on the show. We got a dope show for you tonight. I might have to solo you and go tell my son to calm down because I'm pretty sure his voice is bleeding all into the recording. But glad to have you, man. So part of the reason we linked up is we're going to get into the conference title games, but I'm a San Francisco 49er fan. He is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Are you from Philly?
Nah, I'm from Georgia. I just became an Eagles fan. Yeah.
So I'm from Louisiana, so I'm not from San Francisco. And I live in Kansas City. I spent most of my life living in Kansas City, so everyone kind of side eyes me when I, say I'm a Niners fan. So I can respect being not rooting for teams and not being from that particular area. So let me ask this: how did you become an Eagles fan?
So when I was a kid, it was like the Eagles had that run early with McNabb and Reed where they would get close and not get there. Mm-hmm. And then it was about just to pick a team time, and I was like, I want to see him get there. So I started becoming an Eagles fan. Then the next season they got T.O. But then the Vic thing happened in Atlanta right around the same time. And I was like, I already claimed the Eagles, but I'm cool with Vic too. But I already claimed the Eagles, so I just stayed with the Eagles. And that's how I started. And for years it was you know what, picking the team that almost always gets there is a way to torture yourself.
Yeah.
But then they managed to actually win a Super Bowl, and it was like, oh, you can do that. Okay. Maybe it's not all bad.
That's what's up. Yeah. So I'm a similar trajectory. I picked all my favorite teams when I was 7. So living in Louisiana, I always will have an affinity for the Saints, for LSU. But during that time, both of those teams were awful. Right. The Saints, fans were showing up at the Superdome with paper bags on their head. It was not a good time. And so the Niners were on TV almost every week. We're talking, Rice, Montana, Craig, Brent Jones, John Taylor, right? All of those guys. And so, I gravitated towards that, and I've been rocking with them ever since. So I can, like I said, I definitely can empathize with that being your favorite team. So
yeah, it needs to be normalized. We need to normalize not having to cheer for the team you live because you live there. That doesn't have to be a thing.
Absolutely. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Let me mute my mic.
Parenting.
man. The first, listen, we've been on for 6 minutes. The first 6 minutes, I know people gonna be listening is going, here, oh my God, all the back, oh. Anyway, so yeah, we got a dope show for you tonight, man. So let's jump into these. Divisional matchups. So we'll go in order of. I said we'll save the best for last, which is going to be the NFC title game. So we'll start AFC. Let's start with the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Dope matchup. Obviously, a lot of drama, unexpected drama with Mahomes' ankle. What were your thoughts of that game as you watched it unfold?
Oh man, that game was fun. The first thing I need to say is that every time I see Jacksonville do anything successful, I just feel like it's another year Urban Meyer shouldn't be allowed to coach football anywhere in America. I don't know how you broke a team that badly. And then good old Dougie P came in and just made them love life again. It's so terrible. But not Jacksonville's so close to being that team that's going to be up there a lot. They get kind of really bad next year. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, right? Them going in and beating the Chiefs just wasn't gonna happen, barring something insane occurring, like Mahomes losing his leg. So they did what they could, man. Mahomes is just it's otherworldly. It really is at this point. And it's getting to a point where I'm still he's at that Steph Curry point where when Steph Curry shoots 3, I'm like, it's going in. But Mahomes throws a pass, I'm like, it's probably gonna be a touchdown, probably gonna be completion, every single time, right? There's nothing it's not much you can do with that. Chad Henne going 98 yards I was so confused. That was my favorite part. Because I looked down.
That was no go ahead.
I was looking at my phone because I'm like, damn, trying to see what's happening with Mahomes, trying to see the play again. And I'm like, wait, are they at the goal line? What just happened? What?
Man, shout out to Isaiah Pacheco, who had about a 30 or 40-yard run during that drive. And I in the group chat, I hit my friends and I'm like, yo, my man's got to see a running coach because his form, he runs literally so hard. And I'm like, it should not look like this. It needs to be more graceful or something. And shout out to Colin Saunders, his teammate. He put on Twitter with a video of the run. He goes, I know my man was making that sound the whole way down the field while he was running. I'm just like, bro, but that was the game, right? That right there is probably the drive of the game because it allowed the Chiefs to extend their lead, to stay ahead of Jacksonville after Jacksonville had scored a touchdown. And so, shout out to Chad Henne, man. So I'm going to introduce you to one thing and I'll let you keep going about with your thoughts on the game. So on the show, I have a lot of theories that have been questioned by A Ward, my friends in general. Right. And so I have this theory about the backup quarterback. So assuming that you have your quarterback, your offensive line, and your skill positions intact, to me, the most important position on your team is the backup quarterback. Just for situations like Saturday, where Mahomes goes down and you have someone who's not going to come in and wet the bed. Right. And Chad Henne in not last year, but 2 of the last 3 playoff runs, the game against Cleveland, he comes in where Mahomes goes out with the concussion. He has shown up and has saved the day and been able to hold their teams afloat, right? So that's my backup QB theory. Assuming everything else is set up, the very next thing you need is a backup quarterback who can, for either a game, a couple games, maybe half the season, carry you. So that's my backup QB theory. But I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there. But please continue. Chad Henne.
I actually agree with that, though. I think your backup quarterback, unless they're an elite level, can give you a game, or to give you maybe a game where they're the reason they can let you win a game, right? Gardner Minshew was incredible in that Cowboys game. They got one incredible game in him as a backup. Gardner was incredible in that game. He was god awful against the Saints. It was all. I was watching that game. I'm like, yo, this is nah. I need Jalen back immediately. I can't do this. I can't.
Man.
So yeah, they got a game in them, and I think another thing to add to that is your backup quarterback, to maximize their success, they need to be of the same mold as your starter, as much as possible. Because you look at the Ravens, right? Every quarterback they got, blackest quarterback room in America, by the way. All their backups run the same offense as Lamar. All of them.
True.
You know, they're all similar. They can't do it as good as him because they're not Lamar, but they have the same offense. You got to change too much. The Minshew to Hurts change was just like, bro, this ain't even the same team. Like, there's nothing similar in their game at all.
So, as a Philly fan, I want to ask you this question because going into this season, I saw plenty of Twitter buzz about, well, Minshew is just as good as Hurts. Yeah. Like Minshew can carry this team. I mean, even during the season, while Jalen Hurts is having the best season of his career, right? You're still hearing, oh, well, he can do that. Right. So, I mean, as an Eagle fan, when you are listening to this talk throughout the season, like what are your feelings as you watch this all unfold?
Oh, it's also stupid to me. I'm like, bro, we're blowing everyone out. Like, we're just good. Like, why are you so convinced that Gardner Minshew's been a backup this long? I didn't like the Gardner Minshew thing when he was in Jacksonville. I'm like, bro, y'all are doing too much with this. Like, it's fun. He has a cool mustache. I understand. This is a very middling quarterback. And I say he's bad. He's just middle of the road. You're not going to go too far with that. People fall in love with the okay quarterback, right? Like, people love Taylor Heineke. They love Gardner Minshew. Like, bro, this is not going to get it done long term. It's not. No, I didn't like it. But Eagles fans, there's a lot of revisionist history. Like, there was a lot of people when they picked up, I forget the kid's name. It's a dude from Nevada that they signed in the offseason, undrafted kid. Carson Strong, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, they signed him. People were like, I don't know, he might end up being the starter. He didn't get past fourth string and got cut before the season started. Like, I don't know, man. Philly fans, we are a volatile bunch of people. We really are. I try my best to not be that way, but it happens. It gets the best of us. You got to embrace it. But yeah, no, the backup QBs, man. And Henry's been doing this for so long. That's the other part.
He has. And he, for the Chiefs, I wonder, he's in his 15th season. I wonder just how long, like, just for the sake of argument, if they win the Super Bowl, if Henry goes, you know what? It's been fun. I got 2 of these. Right. You know, I've had a good career. Or he could continue to be on that, I like to call the Chase Daniel train of just being a backup quarterback and collecting checks. And maybe once every 2 or 3 years, I actually have to do, like, my job, right? Like, other than that, I just sit on the sidelines and just chill and just be a legend at the bank. You know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting discussion. Now, I do want to get your opinion on this because, you know, as for that game, again, I thought Mahomes to me was the MVP. I thought around the halfway point, I know there was discussion of Jalen versus Pat, who was the MVP. And I know even in Vegas at a certain point, Jalen was the betting favorite.
Right.
Until Patrick overtook him. So living in Kansas City, like, it's kind of weird. I root for the Chiefs to do well, except for when they play the Niners, right? That's a nightmare scenario for me, which could happen again. But I feel like when I look nationally, you have people like Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, who are Mahomes cheerleaders, right? He can do no wrong. They're always bigging him up, so on and so forth. But I feel like nationally, to me, he's the best quarterback in the league, but I feel like people almost begrudgingly acknowledge him. So from your perspective, I might be too close to this, right? So from your perspective, on the outside looking in, like, how do you think Patrick Mahomes is perceived nationally?
It's weird because I kind of agree. I feel like nationally, it's like this thing where people have him as the best, but it's not easy. I feel like people overcomplicate things. They overthink it. Like, this is the most talented quarterback we've ever seen play football. All right. It's just what it is. Like, in terms of pure talent, this is the most talented dude we've ever seen play the position. But because in this culture, we have to have debates. Everything got to be a debate, a conversation. It's like, I don't know, maybe Josh Allen's right there with him. You know, they played they scored 30 points in 2 minutes. Maybe he's right there. Maybe Joe Burrow's there. And they're all great. It's like, we can't just allow people to be great. So it's like, instead of just allowing Mahomes to be great, and just appreciate his greatness the way they do with Brady all the time now. It's like, nah, man, this is trying to put somebody else up there. You don't have to do that. You really don't. You really don't have to do that, man. Like, just let it exist for what it is. Like I think it's fatigue because it's like I don't know how we keep explaining how great he is, so we got to pump up somebody else. Like you don't have to though. Just keep talking about how great he is because he just is. I'm sorry.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't tripping, right? Because I'm constantly telling. So my Chiefs fan friends, right? Like today has been Joe Burrow Appreciation Day. It started Monday, and I honestly thought, like I said, watching that game and watching him perform that come Monday. I don't listen to a ton. Like I don't do a bunch of First Take and Get Up, and I listen to the Dan Patrick Show. I listen to Bomani, and I listen to PTI. Right, so those are like the three that are constantly in my rotation.
Yeah,
and I just thought that today, that on come Monday, people are going to go, "This is why he's the MVP," because this is the kind of talk that we reserve when you see people put on performances like that. Right, that's where you see people just fawn all over them and they go crazy. And it was just kind of like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes on one leg, still good. Okay, so let's talk about. And I'm just like, wait, no. If Tom Brady would have did this, we would have had stopped. We would have declared it Tom Brady Day. Like I feel like over time, Peyton Manning has always gotten his due in the moment. Tom Brady's gotten his due. Drew Brees, when he's been on top, has gotten his due. Aaron Rodgers, Lord knows, he's gotten his due. And I feel like with Mahomes, it's just like, yeah, okay, you're good. Right. So what? And I'm just like, no. It's not so what. It's not so what, because I'm listening to people talk about Joe Burrow. Oh my God, he's like Tom Brady. Oh my God, he's the new Joe Cool. Look at him throw the pass during pregame and he does the spin around, which was dope. Let me not. That's not hate. That was a dope shot.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm watching these guys today. I'm watching these guys today talk about, is Burrow better than Mahomes? And again, if you want to start your team and you say Joe Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, I'm not going to argue that, right? Like that's a preference thing. And those are all great picks. But I'm like, guys, we don't. Like you said, we don't have to do this. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback maybe we've ever seen. And we're not even in year 10. Like we're not even year 8. This is year 6. 5th year as a starter. Never played a role playoff game. 5 straight AFC conference title games. MVP, 2 MVPs in 5 seasons. He's going to be the MVP this year. Led the league in passing. Led the league in, like, guys, we can elevate and talk about how great Burrow is. And listen, I got to take an L. Matter of fact, I'll say that when we get to that game. But we can talk about how great this guy is and still be like, but there's still the guy at the top. Right? Like we can do both. And I feel like in this world, we try to, especially in this, First Take, Get Up world, undisputed world, there can only be one king. And while there is some truth to that, you can also have people who are challengers to the throne, who are in that same, or I shouldn't even say challengers to the throne. You can have people in different kingdoms. Joe Burrow has his kingdom. Allen has his kingdom. Mahomes has his kingdom. They're all great. And let's just celebrate that. So I'm glad to hear you say that. Because I feel like, again, living in the city, and because Chiefs, any fan, right, they're sensitive about their favorite players. Naturally. But they can become so, like in my group chat, like I'm getting reposts after repost of Burrow content, and they're just going, oh my God, like what is happening right now? And I'm like, guys, just ignore it. Just don't pay attention to it. So I'm glad to hear you validate that. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah. People just don't want to give him the crown. They just don't want to just let him hold the crown. It's like, Jerry, he's got it. I'm sorry. He's got it.
He's the best. Like as a Niners fan, I would love to have him on my team. Shout out to Marcus Spears. He talked about today. He goes, listen, man, if Patrick Mahomes had Jamar Chase and Higgins and Boyd as his wide receivers, he would throw for 7,000 yards. And I'm like, I get the point you're making, but I actually wouldn't doubt that he could. Like, why would you ever run the ball? Like, why would you run the ball? Like you have no reason to run. You can just throw it every down. You can basically treat it like Madden. We going for it every 4th down because who's gonna stop us?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So okay. So I'm glad to hear that you validate my feelings on that one. All right. So anything else you want to say about the Jacksonville and KC game before we jump to Bills Bengals?
No, I just want to say, let's make sure we continue to put respect on the Andy Reid coaching tree, because that was an Andy Reid coaching tree game. Just make sure we respect that.
As much love as Bill Belichick gets for being a genius, his coaching tree is trash. Horrible. While Andy Reid has a really, really dope coaching tree. I mean, Harbaugh, just off the top of my head, Dougie P, not McVay. Oh gosh, Buffalo's head coach,
McDermott.
Sean McDermott.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's probably about another 5 to 6 more that I'm missing that have been all really good at their jobs.
Yeah. And Sirianni's from Frank Reich, and Frank Reich was under Doug, who was under Andy. So
I'm just saying, like that tree has borne a lot more fruit than Bill Belichick, where it's just like that tree does nothing. I mean, I'm not going to say does nothing but produce rotten fruit, but it has produced a lot of stinking fruit. Yeah. It ain't just no good. Spots all on.
Right.
All right, that's what's up. So let's jump into the Bengals and the Bills. So I want to start by asking you this. Going into that game, what were your expectations of what you thought the outcome would be?
So I was kind of torn on that because their first matchup, obviously didn't tell us much anything. Because it was 7-3, but then the Bengals had the ball his first quarter, though. I don't know anything. Anything happened in 4 quarters, right? So it's like, I don't know too much. I thought it was going to be a little more even than that. I was really surprised that they got handled like that. Because I didn't get to watch it live because I worked the night before, so I had the Eagles. So I had to make a choice. A decision had to be made. Something had to get made.
I can respect that.
Yeah, so I didn't catch it live, and I was like, wait, they got him like that? Oh, all right then. So I started, listening to all the podcasts, going back, watching highlights on Twitter, seeing what was going on. I said, oh, okay, got it, understood. But no, I didn't expect it to be like that. That kind of, I was like, dang, the Bengals. But on Not the Expert, shout out to me and Levi, we came up with a system called the PART system. And we said about the Bengals 4 weeks ago. PART means peaking at the right time.
Like I like that.
5 weeks ago, we were like, the Bengals are they getting it together at the proper moment. And they're still rolling. Like, there it is. The PART system is 1-0 right now. The part.
Okay, I like that.
Well, it's 2-0. It's 2-0 because the 49ers were a PART system team too. So yeah.
I might have to actually, borrow that from you guys the next time, next football season. Oh, that's what's up. Man, so watching that game. So I did, based on what happened in the wild card round, both of them honestly probably should have lost. I had no expectations. I think I predicted. I know I put on the @Brains and Bars Twitter page. I put that I had the Bengals winning the game. I just thought that Josh Allen, he's reverted back a little bit to the guy that will give you opportunities to get a fumble recovery or turn the ball over. And I thought that would be the difference between winning and losing. Because the one thing I say about the Bengals, right? They have the names on offense, but they don't necessarily have household defensive names. But they remind me kind of the Tennessee Titans in that I feel like the Tennessee Titans with Mike Vrabel are a really well-coached team that executes very well. And if you make a mistake, they make you pay for it. And I feel like the Bengals are in that same vein, except they have superstars all over the offense. And so I thought that was kind of like my prediction going into the game. And man, them first 2 drives, cold, ruthless execution. It was surgical what they did to them those first 2 drives. It looked like 7-on-7. 6 plays, 7 plays, touchdown. And it's 14 zip off rip. And I'm just like, yikes, guys. This might be a long day. And I mean, shout out to Buffalo for fighting back and getting back in the game for at least a half, because it was 17-7 at half, and then it really wasn't a game after that. And I got to shout out Lou Anarumo, who my homie Marcus was like, well, do you think that their defense is overhyped? And I had to think about it, and I said, well, I don't think their defense is overhyped. I think their defense, it might be getting overpraised. I think it's an overreaction, in part because you shut down Josh Allen and the vaunted offense on that end. However, when you have a team that doesn't run the ball and when you know they're going to pass, it allows you can just pin your ears back. And where I salute him is how clever he was with disguising his blitzes. He was sending Dax Hill and Mike Hilton on corner blitzes where it didn't look like it. And because the route concepts for the Bills were deep, they weren't taking short passes, they weren't taking checkdowns, they were just teeing off on Josh Allen. and just if they weren't getting the sack, they were just battering him and speeding up his process once he finally realized, if he realized that they were, you know, he had a free guy coming his way. So I do have to give them credit there. And their team with a lot of confidence, man, a lot of swagger. To be fair, it's earned, right? Like, you're the reigning AFC champion. You've beaten the Bills, you've beaten the Chiefs this year, who are the other two teams that everyone thought were going to be there at the end. And I can't be mad at them talking their talk.
No.
Although I will say, I don't know if you saw this tweet. Apparently, Eli Apple posted a tweet of like the Damar Hamlin kind of like heart emoji.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. He had like Cancun on 3 and then did the heart, the Damar Hamlin thing. I was like, ooh, that's ugly. That's ugly.
Like Eli is the A Verb of the NFL.
Yo, that's perfect. That's really perfect.
He is the ultimate troll. He is always trying to get under your skin, and it does not matter what happens. He's not going to stop talking.
That's a fact.
He's going to keep talking trash, and you just got to live with him. The city homies, I'm going to put this out here for y'all. Eli Apple is the Trey P of our friend group. So to explain what I mean by that, do you have a homie who has a favorite team, who it don't matter if they're good, if they're bad, he always talking.
Oh,
he's not. And it's like, bro, like your team just lost. Why are you still talking? But then don't let them get good for a second. Because if they get good for a second, he in your mentions.
It's over.
He's a Chargers fan, by the way. He's a Chargers fan. And so, listen, at halftime of that game, I made a meme and I said, hey, Chiefs fans, something scary is coming to Arrowhead this Sunday. No, not Justin Herbert. It's Trey P. He's coming because he was going to be in y'all mentions all week long. And then, of course, the Chargers do what the Chargers do and they collapse. But yeah. So for those who may not know who A Verb is or who Trey P is, just think about that one friend you got that always talk trash no matter what and never shuts up and is super annoying and is always getting under your skin. That's your guy. That's the guy who's Eli Apple in your life, man.
Word. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I want to know. So with the Bengals, right? One thing, I think that swag that you talk about, I feel like when Joe Burrow's your quarterback, you don't have a choice. That dude, I like that. I didn't think I'd see. So I gotta give a confession while I'm here. I'm in a safe space. Now I'm gonna give a confession. When Joe Burrow came out,
no judgment zone.
I didn't believe. I wasn't a believer. I wasn't a believer because one, the LSU team was the most loaded roster I've ever seen in college football offensively. Two, I'm like, he's like 24 years old, bro. How he just get good? He just got good at 24. What are we doing? Like, we gonna act like he was the same age as Lamar in college. I'm like, bro, what are we doing with this? I don't trust this. And then he came to the league like, oh, I was wrong. I was wrong.
You know what? While we confessing, while these are our confessions, let me go ahead and take my L as well, because I too was not a Joe Burrow believer. Like you said, it's one of the most stacked teams of all time. It is the greatest individual season from a quarterback of all time. It is, however, not the greatest quarterback play of all time. For me, that's Cam Newton. That Auburn team, different. I think, had one person make the draft. Cam Newton taking that team to a title, the greatest quarterback play of all time. Anyway, it's not here nor there. I'm getting off script. But after their run last year, I was in group chat saying, hey, he's not top 5 QB for me right now. Hey, this team is going to finish third in their division. I had them finish behind the Ravens and the Steelers because I thought, no way Mitch Trubisky can be worse than Ben Roethlisberger was last year. Boy, was I wrong. And listen, hey, I had a reason. I think, did they start out 0-2? I think they started out 0-2, or at least, or 1-2.
Yeah.
They started out slow, and I was like, what did I tell y'all? Listen to me now, believe me later on, and then they turned it around. And so I have to eat some humble pie here too. I was wrong about Joe Burrow being. I knew he was going to be good. I did not see him being this good. Right. And so I do have to salute them in that fashion, in that manner. So yeah, we both on the same boat on that one.
There we go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you watch the Do you ever watch The Office? Did you watch The Office?
Yeah.
okay, let me ask you what you think about this. So I refer to Zach Taylor as Michael Scott because, like, I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know how this works, but somehow your branch is always top in sales. And I don't know what Zach Taylor does, but somehow the Bengals are back in the AFC Championship game. Like, what is he doing? What does he do? I don't know. Because I don't see a confident man when I see that man coaching. I don't see a good coach.
I'll say this. I think he's learning on the fly, and I think he is getting better. I think he is getting better because I think early on the season, their offensive line was getting killed.
Yeah.
And it was in part because the route concepts were taking too long to develop, and that's why he was getting, Burrow was getting knocked around. He has since it's become more of a quick passing game. So I have to give him credit for that. And he's also stopped doing that thing. So in last year's AFC title game, every first down it was a running play. Just about.
Yeah.
Like they get a new set of downs, Joe Mixon right up the middle, 1 or 2 yards. And it's just like, bro, like you literally playing halfback dive like on Madden. You just pressing this same play and the defense knows it's coming. You know what I'm saying? And so I do think he has shown some growth as a head coach. It's not fair to judge people off how they look while they're coaching. He does kind of have this look like what is happening right now. Like,
yeah,
it's almost like
right?
he woke. It's like he woke up from a dream and he's like, why am I in this stadium with 70,000 people?
Yes.
How am I the coach of this team? So I get it from that perspective. But if they win this game and they make it to another Super Bowl, we're gonna have to stop calling him Michael Scott.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find another name. I don't know if we're gonna have to go with a Cheers analogy. And start calling him. I can't remember Ted Dance's name off of Cheers. I'm probably aging myself with that because I think you're considerably younger than me and probably never watched an episode of Cheers.
I didn't watch Cheers, but I respect the reference.
Okay, so you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to find another name to call him from TV. But yeah, man, like I gotta give him his credit.
For sure.
And so with that, let's jump to this weekend, right? Let's talk about this weekend's games. Bengals versus Chiefs, back in Arrowhead again. Or as the Bengals have referred to it as Burrowhead.
That's
cold. Okay.
That's cold.
Hey, I guess when you 3-0, you get to talk your talk, right?
Right. I love when rivalries form naturally like this, right? Like this isn't a division thing. This is just like a rivalry come off of just being good, and the fact that we beat the best quarterback in the league 3 times in a row while having a lose record to the Browns somehow with Joe Burrow, which was that stat was the wildest. I had 2 stats this year that I blew my friend's mind with. One was telling them that Joe Burrow was 3-0 versus Mahomes and like 0-3 versus the Browns. And 2 was when I realized Pittsburgh had 7 wins. And I was calling my friends like, hey, Steelers got 7 wins this year? Like, when did they do that? So I don't know, bro, but they're here. They're here.
Man, so not to get too far off topic, but I feel like, to me, I put it to you like this. From the black delegation, Mike Tomlin has to be the coach of the year. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to win it. But the fact that you took a team that started a rookie quarterback who was abjectly horrible to start and Mitch Trubisky, and the fact that you got once again to a record that is above 500, never finishing below 500 ever in your career, almost making the playoffs with that team and that offense. Hey, bro, like I said, from the brothers, you are our coach of the year because we don't know how you. Matter of fact, I start calling him Pastor Mike Tomlin because he got to have a line. He gotta have Jesus on the main line. Like, listen, if you believe in the power of intercessory prayer, y'all need to call Mike Tomlin because he knows somebody. I promise you, to get that team where he got them, man.
They were 2-6.
Bro. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they. I mean, and granted, they beat a bunch of bums to get there. I'm not going to act like they. Yeah. But I mean, they beat the Dolphins to get there. I had to go back and pull up the schedule real quick to see everyone they beat after they were 2-6. No, they didn't play the Lions, but I mean, it's like you said, man, it's unbelievable that he got to nine wins, let alone 7.
Right.
But so let me see. So they beat the Bengals to start the season, which, man, I was like, see, I told y'all about Joe Burrow. I told you he wasn't.
That was the moment. That was the moment.
that was my moment. That's as good as it got for me. But they beat the Saints, okay, and they almost beat the Bengals. They lost that game, okay. Beat the Colts, the Falcons. They beat the Ravens minus Lamar.
Yeah.
Beat the Panthers. Beat the Raiders in a game the Raiders should have won. Then they beat the Ravens again. Oh, wow, they swept the Ravens. And then they beat the Browns. So, I mean, again, it wasn't like it was a crazy run, but still, man.
They were amongst they beat bum teams, but they were a bum team for half the season. You know? It's like, hey.
But yeah, man. But back to Sunday's game, man. Shout out to Mike Tomlin. So let me. What is your key to the game? If you had to say, like, this is the thing that I'm looking for in terms of, like, this could be the thing that one of the key things, because it's not just one thing, but one of the key things you think that might determine who wins this game.
Outside of Mahomes' mobility, which I think is going to be important. I believe my thing with the Chiefs this year has been, I don't know how long you can go without having an elite wideout, right? Like, Travis Kelce's great, but it's like at some point, it's like you gotta I feel like you need a receiver to take the top off at some point, right? Because somebody might just keen on Travis Kelce, like, this is gonna be this. We're not having Travis Kelce day to day, right? And the Bengals could do that. So if they're able to limit Travis Kelce, I don't know if those guys are gonna be able to step up in the receiving corps. If Juju, if Hardman, and who am I missing? I'm missing somebody.
Tony, MVS.
Yeah, Scantling. I don't know if those guys are gonna be able to step up, and I think it's gonna matter at some point. That's the key for the Chiefs for me. Is how well you can just keep Travis involved in the game. Because I know Pacheco's gonna break one. Pacheco's gonna be fine. Because that dude, I said to my phone that said Pacheco runs like wherever he came from, he can't go back ever. Like, wherever that dude came from, he can't go back. Nah, he's not going to go back. That's how Pacheco acts. So his energy's gonna be there. That's the key for me though, is how they can keep Kelce involved. If Kelce can't be limited, because as good as he is, he's still the only weapon. And sometimes when you're the only weapon, it can get shut. It can't get stopped, especially if Mahomes isn't mobile. That's the key to it. I know they want that game badly. They really want this win, because the idea of them going 0-4 to somebody doesn't seem like a thing that's going to happen. It doesn't seem like a thing that's going to happen, but it's also like, if Mahomes isn't there, bro, maybe they just got your number again. You have to delay this another year, you know? And God bless, I don't want the media run that's going to come from that if they lose this game. I really don't, because I don't want those conversations. You remember when the Warriors lost to the Cavs, the 3-1 lead, and then it was Kyrie's better than Steph Curry? Remember that time? I don't want that in my football life. I really don't. And not even like putting Joe Burrow and Kyrie in the same category, but like, I'm just, it's just a conversation that doesn't need to happen based off a single game result. It doesn't need to happen.
So, not to get too derailed, but let me just say this about Kyrie. No player has benefited more, at least in the NBA. I want to go across all sports. No player has benefited more from one championship than Kyrie Irving. Because when it was 3-1, all you heard was he dribbles too much. He doesn't make anyone better. He takes the toughest shots. And what did Kyrie change in games 5 through 7? Nothing. He still dribbled too much. He didn't get others involved, and he still took the toughest shots. It just, everything came together in a perfect storm. And if not for that championship, everything that happened after that is just made a little bit worse if he doesn't have that one ring. The failed leadership attempts, what's happened in New York, him showing up, on Zoom meetings while his team is playing, going to birthday parties when he needed personal day. Like, all of that stuff is made just that much more worse if he doesn't have a championship. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I hear you.
That's fair. But yeah, I think for the Bengals, they just got to go beat the Bengals, I guess. Like, I think they're fully capable of making plays, because they're just, like you said, they're loaded everywhere. Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase. Like, and the thing I was just realizing the other day, it's like, yeah, the Bengals have a great offensive line. I'm like, you know what? You can't have everything. You can't. You gotta give up at some point. There's something you can't have. You gotta receive core. You gotta run it back. Okay, you don't have the greatest offensive line. You can't get it all, bro. You can't. I'm sorry. Something's got to give.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So for me, the thing that I want to watch for, and I'm trying to see if I can pull this up on the fly while I talk, is going to be, speaking of the offensive line, can the Chiefs get to Joe Burrow? Right? They have struggled at doing that. The first time they met, they sacked him, I believe, like 4 or 5 times. So I'm looking this up right now. Let's see if I can see it. I don't see it on this one. So they sacked Joe Burrow 4 times in that first matchup where the Chiefs were up, I think either 14 or 18. They end up coming back in that regular season matchup.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, in last year's title game, they did not sack him once. I don't think they sacked him in this matchup in the regular season. So after getting to him 4 times the first time they saw him, I think they have 1 sack since that point. 2. So in 2 games since that first matchup, they've only sacked him twice. And Chris Jones, you want to talk about stats that blow your mind? As great as he's been throughout his career, no sacks in the playoffs. Not a single one. 0.
Wow.
Not a single sack in the playoffs. And one of the things that that haunts Chiefs fans from last year's match, it was a 3rd down, and Chris Jones has him dead to rights. He grabs him up top. He can't get him down. He tries to take a swipe at his legs as Burrow escapes. Burrow skips out of that, and he runs for the 1st down. And I think that might have been the drive that ended up tying the game, ended up sending it to overtime. Like, they have not been able to they've been able to pressure him some. They've not been able to sack him. And so can they get pressure? The matchup that I'm super excited to see, and I didn't ask this question, I'm just throwing. So if you have a matchup, you can jump in, but I want to see, one of the things I'm curious about, I'll say this. Will Spags match up? So will he take Snead, put him on Higgins for a size, and will he put McDuffie on Chase no matter where they go? If I'm Spagnuolo, I'm not saying that he should do that for the entire game. I think to set his tone, I think he should start it. I think at the end of if it's a close game in the 4th quarter, if it's a critical 3rd down, match up. You find Higgins, because quietly, right? He doesn't get the fanfare of Sauce Gardner in New York, who should be the defensive rookie of the year. But McDuffie is nice. Like, he is nice, and it doesn't get talked about enough. And I went back this week and watched every rep he had against Jamar Chase. He locked him up. I think he might have had 1 catch on him in all of his targets. He had the one play, he got like a little bit of a ticky-tack pass interference call on a play where the pass got intercepted. But that's the matchup. If I'm Spags, I'm saying this is your guy.
Yeah.
We're about to assign you the best player in the game, and your job is to shut him down.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens on that end.
Yeah, I think that's key too. Like, because you can't show Burrow the same look all game, because he's gonna be like, "Hey, I know what you're doing. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Give me a couple plays." Right? Like, you're gonna have to mix it up. So I think, like you said, matching up sometimes, critical 3rd down, just throwing some different looks at him, because he's too good to just be stagnant. You just keep bringing your same defense out there. He's gonna be like, "Oh, you want to keep doing? Cool, got it. Don't worry about it." Understood, right? You got to play those games. I think Spags as a coordinator, I feel like some days I'm like, he's good. And then some weeks I'm like, yo, what's up with you, bro? Like, Spags confuses me, right? I'm like
it's a love-hate relationship. It is a love-hate relationship in the city with Spags. Especially with this particular team. The 3rd and 27, I think, comes to mind, where he has this, basically tells Ward one-on-one with Chase and sends a blitz. It's like, bro, it's 3rd and 27. Like, just run a zone.
Right.
Like, you didn't need to do that there. Like,
no, we're good, bro. We don't need the blitz at all. So Sauce did win Defensive Rookie of the Year, by the way.
Okay. I mean, and look, rightfully so. I mean,
today. Yeah.
as you can see, I'm a Notre Dame fan. Like I said, I picked all my favorite teams when I was 7. And I watched Cincinnati play against the Irish last year. And I'd heard about Sauce and not seen him, had not watched him. I watched him play and I said, hey, guys, that's a first-round pick. Like a beast. So that is deserved. That was a deserving win for him. So shout out to Sauce Gardner getting Rookie of the Year. So let's. I don't want to keep you too long because I know you have your time is of the essence. So let's jump into who you got winning this game.
I feel like just based on the fact that I don't know how Mahomes' mobility is going to be, I'm going to edge the Bengals. I'm edging the Bengals, but I think it's going to be a tough game. But it's really just, I know how bad the Chiefs want this game. I know they want this game, but I just don't know. I think at some point that angle is going to matter, and I think just my concern with the receiving core is going to matter. I think those are my biggest concerns. So I think I'm going to lean Bengals just based off those factors, which is crazy to say, but I'm leaning Bengals right now.
So,
and I might end up regretting it by like 6:30, like, oh, because the Chiefs might come out here and be like, we're going to burrow race you now. And I'm like, oh, well, you know what? My bad.
So I woke up on Monday. I knew we were doing the show. I woke up on Monday, and from Monday until about an hour ago, I said the Bengals are winning this game.
Yeah.
In part because I am concerned about Mahomes' mobility. I am concerned about the fact that I wonder, is it in the Chiefs' head that they've lost 3 games by 3 points each, and that it has been self-inflicted mistakes that have cost them each of those games. I wonder how much mentally that messes with you.
That's a good point.
And then I saw the video of, I think it was Eli. It was either Eli. It was Mike Hilton who said, "We coming to Burrowhead on Sunday." I know Mahomes has rabbit ears. He's got his ears to the streets for what people are saying. You got people questioning his ability to play from the pocket. You basically got people calling him, shout out to Coach 30, just an athlete playing quarterback, right? You have all these people who are, saying, well, he's not going to be good enough. He doesn't have the core to handle it. Burrow's beaten him 3 times. This is a legacy game. Like I forget. I think that was First Take said, what does this do for Patrick Mahomes' legacy if he loses again?
God, Lord have mercy.
Unless he's going to retire after the game, it does absolutely nothing for his legacy. It's just another chapter. It's another page in the chapter of his career.
Right.
But I am taking the Chiefs because I think these people have pride and ego. And talking about Burrowhead and talking about legacy and them being 3-0 and they're the big dogs and the Chiefs, derisively get called the dynasty of 1. Even though the Bengals don't have, or the dynasty of 0, they don't even have a championship to be called the dynasty of 1. I think people are going to pick the Bengals to win. I think people are going to heavily favor them to win. And I think they won't be able to quite go, you don't believe in us. But I think that this is going to be the year where they finally get it done.
Yeah.
I think the pride of this team is going to come through. It's going to show, and they're going to win the game. I think it's going to be close because these games, they're always close, right? I mean, the matchup this year, the Bengals jumped out to a 14-3 lead. The Chiefs outscored them 21-6. They were up 24-20, driving when Travis Kelce has that ball ripped from him.
That's right.
And then the game kind of turned on that point. So I think the Chiefs get it done. I'm going to say by a field goal, and they will go to the Super Bowl.
I'm with that. Also, on your Mahomes legacy thing, if he retires right now, he's Hall of Famer. Like he's good. He's
listen.
Like we can't do the legacy talk. He's good. He's done everything already.
So I'll say this. Like, if he were to win it, I told my homies, I said, if he wins another Super Bowl this year, he's got to be like top 10 all time.
Yes.
Like, just because of resume. Again, he's going to be the MVP again. 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. Super Bowl would be probably 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 2 championships. And like, that's Giannis type stuff, right? Like, we celebrate Giannis in part because of everything that he's done at such an early age. Like it's the greatest start to a career in NFL history. Unless you want to talk about Bart Starr or something. But
it's Dan Marino with rings. All right, that's what it is. It's Dan Marino with rings. Dan Marino threw for like 5,000 yards in the 80s, which I still look at that and I'm like, bro, how'd you do that? Like, it's Marino with rings, and it's nothing to discuss.
I hope that at some point we look at, like you mentioned, Dan Marino. For my money, Jerry Rice is the greatest football player ever, because Jerry Rice was putting up numbers in a non-passing league, that in a league where the ball is passed 2 to 3 times more, players still can't touch him. Like, players literally have to play for 25 years to match Jerry Rice's numbers in a league where the ball is thrown more than ever. And so, like, his the 86 season, the strike shortened season, 22 touchdowns and like 60-something catches.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that season.
22 touchdowns and like 6. So basically, every third time he touched the ball, it was a house call. What are we talking? Randy Moss is not the greatest wide receiver ever. All due respect to Randy Moss. It's Jerry Rice. But anyway, my point that I'm getting at is I hope that in 20 or so years that we look at what Mahomes has done, at least to this point, the same way we look at Jerry Rice, the same way we look at what you talked about, Dan Marino, 5,000 yards in 1984. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah. And I think the one
Anything
thing
else? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the one thing I try to remember is that, like, the conversations in the moment aren't going to be remembered in like 20 years, right? Like, we don't talk about the fact that Peyton Manning got benched for Brock Osweiler to protect what was left of his neck that last Super Bowl run, right? Like, we don't talk about that. We talk Peyton Manning has 2 rings. All that's going to be remembered is the numbers. Like, the context is going to get lost. The numbers are going to get remembered. So Mahomes, like, when he sits down, we got to just look at raw numbers and like awards and everything. It's like, pull up his football reference page, like a basketball reference page. Like, yo, what? You did what? It's going to hold up. That's all that's going to be remembered. It's not going to be these stupid conversations we engage for no reason.
So I want to make sure I got this right. I know Peyton Manning threw I thought it was 9. Oh, it was 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions his final season. Like, that was Jordan. I don't know. That was Elijah Wan in a Raptors jersey. Right? I can't even, because Jordan was actually good with the Wizards, right? Like, I can't even call it Jordan with the Wizards. This is Hakeem Elijah. I'm sorry. This is not Elijah Wan. Patrick Ewing in a Seattle Sonics jersey. Like, that is what that final season was, and he walked off with a chip.
Right.
Like, one more. This is Big T versus Easy. Like, to give it another battle rap reference, that is what Peyton Manning's final season stats of 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. That is Big T versus Easy.
That's a good one.
So
that's a good one.
Anyway, but y'all let us know what y'all think about this AFC matchup. Who y'all got? Y'all got Bengals, Bills. Let's jump into this NFC matchup. How much time you got left? So I want to make sure
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good to like 9. Yeah, we good.
All right. Cool. So let's jump into this NFC. I feel like there's not a whole lot to really talk about with this first game of Giants versus Eagles. Man, let me tell y'all something. Let me just get this ran off real quick. Y'all got to stop this. I get it. It's the NFL. It's one game a week. It's not like the NBA where you get 3 and 4 opportunities to play, and so it's not as consequential. But y'all really got on national TV and on Al Gore's internet in the year of our Lord 2023 and had the nerve to get up here and talk about, man, the Giants got a chance. Did you see Daniel Jones? It was the best game of his career. He's looking like a franchise quarterback. The boy is no, let me slow down. I'm not gonna call him trash. He's mediocre. He's not a franchise quarterback. And y'all got up here and got them Giants fans' hopes up, thinking they was gonna walk in at least make it competitive. Do y'all know what happened the first time they met up? 26-point beatdown. What did you think? Y'all played with them people's emotions, and that should keep y'all up at night that y'all did that to them Giants fans. Got them out here believing that they even had an opportunity, a scintilla of an opportunity to win that game. I was watching the game with my uncles and my dad. We're in a group chat together, and they're hoping to God that the Giants win so that if the Cowboys won, they get the home game. They go for it on 4th down, and he goes, "Why would you do that there?" When that first 4th down, when they were 7-0.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I said, because they can't stop them, and they know it. They know what's about to happen.
That's exactly what was going on.
They know what time it is, and they know they got to get a touchdown because they know they about to go right back the other way with it. And as an Eagles fan, I'll let you have the floor. I got my little rant out the way. The floor is. What did you think about that game?
Business was handled the way it needed to be handled. Yeah, the Giants. I don't fear I just didn't fear the Giants because like when we played them that first time, I said, okay, cool, we're good with that. That second game obviously didn't mean anything. It was just Philly was locked up. It's just all right, let's get Jalen Hurts some reps and see what we can get out of here. Did that, handle business. This game, I was like, I'm not too worried about. I'm only worried because it's a divisional game. That was my only issue. Divisional games can get weird sometimes. Like that's my only issue. But middle of the second quarter, I'm like, okay, cool, we're good. Cool. I'm just gonna enjoy this night. I'm gonna enjoy this easy playoff game just because of the fact that you don't get easy playoff games all the time. So you really got to embrace that. You know, you got to embrace the playoff beatdown. I'm like, you know what? This is awesome. Let's get in there and get out. I'm more. I think the Giants conversation is more interesting when you ask like Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are both up. What you gonna do?
So I put that question out on the Brains and Bars Twitter page, and 85%. There's like a little bit over 100, 130 something votes, I think. 85% said Saquon Barkley is who you sign. If you can only sign one, it's Saquon. And I'll say this, right? Another coach who should be up top 3 potentially for Coach of the Year. What he did with Daniel was commendable, right? Daniel was a turnover machine. He's been that his entire career. He was not that this year.
Mm-hmm.
He was at times Tebow-esque with his production.
Yeah.
Not in that he was missing players or, not in that his, like, it was trash until the fourth quarter.
Right.
In that his stats were they were paltry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was. So
very much so.
So, I mean, he gets credit for at least protecting Daniel Jones from himself and allowing him to be successful and using him, I mean, kind of like Tebow. I mean, to be honest, with all the design runs. But Saquon, it's different when you put the ball in Saquon's hands.
It is,
right? Like, you put Saquon, split him out wide, you hit him on a slant, he's taking it 30 yards.
Right.
Or you give him, you have a well-designed run play and he's making a house call. Like, and thankfully you get to play the Vikings, whose defense is awful. And you get to, and of course you look like, a franchise quarterback against that offense. They're trash. Their defense is awful.
Right.
Like I can't even really slander Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk Cousins did what now the 4th and 8 throwing the ball 3 yards down the field. Okay.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so shout out to Brian Daboll. But yeah, you signed Saquon 100 out of 100 times. I think you probably franchise Daniel
Jones, if anything. Yeah. I think that's where I'm at with it. Cause I feel like Daboll has proven that he will get the most out of your quarterback, basically. Right. And also shout out to him for being like, for going to these like white dudes, be like, hey, anybody ever called you an athlete? No, I'm gonna call you. We're gonna get you doing some athletic stuff today. We're gonna get you doing some athletic stuff. All right, let's try this. Let's run some read options for you, buddy. All right, they'll never see it coming. And getting the most out of these dudes, he did it because he did with Josh Allen. And I don't know, like he makes guys stop having turnovers. He really does. I don't know how he does it, but he does. He makes it happen. He did it with Josh because when he left, Josh is right back to being Josh. Right, the turnover machine, gifted turnover machine. Right, he got the most out of Daniel Jones. So yeah, I think. Because their draft spot's not going to be high enough, and this isn't really a deep quarterback class. I don't know where you stand on the Will Levis thing. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I'm a CJ Stroud, Bryce Young dude, but even Bryce, I'm like, he's so small. He's so small, and he already gets slammed on his shoulder a lot. So like, but yeah, not to get off topic too much, but yeah, they're not gonna be high enough to get a quarterback. But I think if you get Barkley at a reasonable price, because obviously you just can't pay running backs too much. Obviously, it's just not gonna work anymore. You get him at a reasonable price, you franchise Jones, you bring it back next year, and then you see where you can go from there. Because I do feel like I think he got the most out of Jones, but Jones obviously has a ceiling, right? Like you said, he's just okay, right? You do have a ceiling there, but you don't have a better option out there unless you want to go get Derek Carr, which I don't think Derek Carr is necessarily a ceiling raiser for them, And I like Derek Carr, so I'm not raising that ceiling in that division specifically. So I think just franchise him, bring him back. That's the only thing for the Giants because they got. It was two clear teams in the NFC East, and it was the Eagles and the Cowboys. That was the clear dominant forces of the division.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So on Will Levis, let me get close to the camera. Draft him in the top 5 if you want to. Take him. Indianapolis. Trade up to number 2 or number 3 and take him if you want to. You're gonna be and 3. I'm gonna run this back 3 years from now. When you get fired, I don't know if it's Chris Ballard still the GM or not. I'm gonna run this back. I'm gonna be all up in this camera telling you, you start packing your bags right now. You draft that boy if you want to. Anyway, let me get off of that. Not it. But I agree. Wholeheartedly. Although I'll say this about Daniel. I wish A Ward was here because A Ward is a Daniel Jones believer. He believes that if you give him better receivers, maybe he could be the Jalen Hurts of next year.
That's fair.
Can go.
That's fair.
I don't necessarily think D-Hop is that guy. Like it's not the equivalent of going and getting AJ, right? Like it's not the equivalent of that. But if you go and upgrade his wide receiver core, I think A Ward would tell you if he was here that Daniel Jones could be Ryan Tannehill. Like I don't think that's not a bad place to be because I think we've seen you can win with Ryan Tannehill. You can be successful with the Ryan Tannehill like quarterback. So if he can get to that point, I think you got something. I think you got something there. And with that, I'm not a big believer in Wink Martindale's defenses, but with the way that defense plays, I am a believer in Dexter Lawrence.
Right.
And I forget the other young man, the other interior tackle.
Thibodeau?
Well, I forgot about Thibodeau. No. Who was the kid they got from USC? They contemplated trading him, but they did not.
What is his name?
I can see his. Now I got to go look up oh man, it's not Dexter Lawrence. Let's
pull this up real quick.
Yep, it's gonna bug me till I see it too. Leonard Williams.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. He's tough.
So I'm a believer in him. I'm a believer in Kayvon Thibodeau, who showed all the concerns about him were unwarranted. Right. So with that defense, Julian Love, shout out Notre Dame, playing Pro Bowl safety level. They got something there on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, if you can upgrade, from Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James and the ghost of Kenny Galladay, if you can upgrade from that, I just think injuries, man.
Yeah,
because he was nice in Detroit. Right. I think injuries just took what was left of his ability, and I hate to see it because I really like Kenny Galladay.
I did too. Yeah.
But yeah, man. So anything you want to say so we can jump to this Dallas Cowboy Niners game because there's not a lot to say.
It's not. Let's get this Cowboys game. I can go to like 9:20. By the way, I'm good to like 9:20. I'm not. Yeah.
Okay. So let me say this. I'm pretty sure at some point my dad and my uncle and my cousin who are Cowboy fans are going to see this, and so I say this with all due respect. I'm glad your team lost. Because one thing I was not going to be able to handle, if y'all would have won that game and they would have made it, the talk on the timeline would have been nauseating. Look at y'all look at all the Dallas Cowboy haters. We still here. Y'all going to show up and watch us. 47 million people tuned in because they love to see us. Y'all love to see us try to lose and go sit down in San Francisco. It would have been all of that rah-rah. And I just ain't got the energy for it. I would have had to leave. I would have to leave Facebook. Lord knows they ever win the championship. I might just delete my Facebook. I just holler at y'all and see y'all when I see y'all.
Yeah, it's over.
But they should have won that game. Even with all of that, they should have won that game. And Dak played like Jimmy Garoppolo. And that was a sentence I did not think I would say about Dak Prescott in a game where he needed to play like Brock. Like this is a crazy 2 sentences back to back. He played like Jimmy. He needed to play like Brock Purdy. If he played like Brock Purdy, they win the game. Like that is a crazy thing to say. Because from a guy who is really good though. Like that's the thing. Like he's good. Right. I just don't know like what happened. What happened? So, full disclosure, I picked Dallas to win the game. I picked Dallas to win the game because I was half right because I thought that the Niners offense has not seen a defense this good all season. For sure, since they've been on that win streak. They haven't seen a defense that good since they've been on that win streak. And the speed with which that defense was moving, especially up front with Odigizua, with I'm going to call him Dexter Lawrence, with Tank Lawrence, DeMarcus Lawrence,
yeah.
Micah Parsons, DeMarcus, thank you. DeMarcus Lawrence, yeah. Micah Parsons, my God. I dude was a beat. Like, he's everywhere. He was everywhere. And the fact that they lost that game with that defensive performance, I mean, it's on Dak. And so the floor is yours. Like, your thoughts on that game and how it unfolded.
Yeah, so and actually I had a lot invested in this game because one, I'm not on the people like I want to beat my division rival in the playoffs. I don't want to play y'all because like the idea of having to deal with the week leading up to playing Dallas in the playoffs, I didn't want that in my life. I didn't want that stress. I'm a North Carolina basketball fan. That whole Duke Final Four thing that week, I was like, I hated that week, right? Hated everything about that week. Hated the game up until we won. Like, nah, I don't like this. I don't like that stress. I don't like that stress in my life. So I was glad to see the 49ers win. But yeah, with Dallas.
Yeah, you're right. I was stressed out too.
Yeah, right?
So yeah, Dallas, I had to think about it. Like, was I stressed that week? Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So the Dallas thing, I'm like, okay. The defense is doing all you want them to do in the situation. They're rattling. They're getting the Brock enough. Moving them off the kilter. That's one of the most like just off pure talent. That offense is just talented everywhere, right? So it's like you get stops, you got to take every stop. I'm watching that game like, yo, I'm loving this defensive battle. I really am because it's two great defense. It wasn't bad offense necessarily except for Dak, but it's like two really great defenses going against each other. That's all it was. But nah, man, I'm with you. I feel like Dak is really good. I've always respected Dak begrudgingly, of course, but like I always respected Dak. It's like, no. This is what's up with you? Are you okay? Like what's going on here? I think part of it's on him, part of it's on play calling because they don't. Do you see how creative these offenses are these days? And then you see Dallas and it's like we just gonna run our stuff. It's like all right, I guess, bro. I guess.
So I mean the loss of Pollard. I mean that's the turning point.
That hurt. Yeah, that hurt.
That's the turn because he was now. Granted, the Niners defense does not give up a lot on the ground. I don't think they still haven't given up over 70 yards rushing to a single back. I think Kenneth Walker might have gotten close in the division round, but they haven't given up 70 yards. Like I don't think it's either been all season or it's been like something like 15 games in a row. It's some crazy stat like that, right? And so he was. I mean, Tony Pollard was earning money, right? Like he was making. He's going to be a free agent. I don't know if the Cowboys will franchise him or what they'll do to see if they can retain him, but they can't lose him because Zeke is done. It's over.
Right.
Like the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. It's not there anymore. And I had a guy at work goes, they pay him so much money. He needs to be better. I'm like, when you watch it, don't care. It don't matter what that dollar sign is behind
him. He can't be better. He wants to be.
The only thing I think Zeke can do now for his career is you remember when Emmett went to the Cardinals and he racked up like 20-some touchdowns basically just on 1-yard runs?
Yeah.
Because he was just that's essentially all he did. Like that's all Zeke is good for at this point. It's just we're at the goal line. We don't necessarily want to put Tony back there because we don't think he has the stature to handle going between the tackles like that. Hey, Zeke, come on. But yeah, once they lost him, and they basically tried to use CD kind of like in a Tony Pollard type way with, jet sweeps, bubble screens, and try to just use his explosiveness. But that was it. That was all they had.
Right. Yeah.
That was all they had. Yeah. And it, again, like I feel for Dak, man. Like I hated it had to be them because I do, like I said, my family members are Cowboy fans, friends who are Cowboy fans. And I hated it had to be my team that eliminated them. But yeah, like I don't think. Yeah, I have nothing. It was Dak. It's on your show. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about Dak. I don't know if you need someone to put the game on their shoulders if he can be that guy for you.
Right.
Because that was clearly hey guys, if we're going to win, especially once you lose Pollard, hey boys, hop on my back. It's on me. I'm taking us to the win.
Right.
And he might be kind of like Alex Smith plus.
Yeah.
Like a rich man's Alex Smith, where like if everything around him is perfect, you got a great chance to win. But if it starts to break down, the odds are not great that he's going to be able to take you and drag you
100%
to that W, man. And
100%.
And as a quarterback of the Cowboys,
that was the game to do it. Like, yo, go win it, bro.
Listen. I'll say this about Brock Purdy. He was a 7th round pick for a reason. He is playing above that selection. I had a friend ask me during the game, like, do you miss Jimmy now? And the answer was a resounding no. I don't miss Jimmy.
No.
I will never miss Jimmy. And the difference between Brock and Jimmy is this. Last year when the Cowboys played the Niners in the playoff game, and again, my family members are bemoaning the fact that they're losing, they're going to lose. And I said, guys, let me tell you something. As sure as I'm living and breathing, Jimmy gonna throw you one.
Right.
He's gonna do it at the worst moment. Right. And he gonna bring y'all back in the game. The way y'all need Dak to carry y'all, Jimmy gonna carry you to an interception at the worst moment. And sure enough, he throws a horrible pick. Cowboys got within, I don't know if it was 3 or 7 at that point because they had a big lead. And yeah, that's what it was. Like, but Brock Purdy, now some of that is luck because Trayvon Diggs had an interception he should have picked.
Yeah.
Some of that is luck, but he does not make the big mistake. Now, does he kind of Walinda tightrope walk that when he's like pivoting, reverse pivoting, and running back 30 yards where he got these monsters chasing him? Yeah, he's on the edge sometimes, but he does not make. He is yet to make that kind of like, oh my God, why would you do that? I've yet to say that while I've watched him play, and that has been the major difference, at least in the playoffs, between him and Jimmy. And why, if they do make the Super Bowl, you absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you don't start. Look, don't play him. Don't, Kyle. I will find you.
Yo, I will
find you, Kyle.
I saw Shanahan saying that like Jimmy could be held by the Super Bowl. I'm like, why would that matter? Why would that mean anything?
So, only if Brock gets hurt.
Right, yeah.
Like if Brock gets hurt, then yeah. That's a great insurance policy to have.
Right.
Because, for 3 quarters, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. And if we could have been like Donald Trump and stopped the count after the 3rd quarter, after they took that picture after that interception, we would be Super Bowl champions.
Right.
But because football games are 4 quarters, he stunk up the joint in the 4th quarter. Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes again. I guess the Monstars, the ability that Jimmy had stolen from Patrick was given back to Patrick, and they won the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So where does Dallas go from your standpoint? Do they fire Mike McCarthy? Zeke is done, and poor Zeke having your final play with that team getting knocked over by a linebacker as you snap the ball as if this was Pee Wee football. God bless. Thanks for the memories.
Right.
But do you? So I know the hot name is Sean Payton. If you're Jerry Jones, you're 80. You're not getting any younger. Do you go and fire Mike McCarthy and go get Sean Payton?
So I've been thinking about this, right? As an Eagles fan, I needed 2 things. I need the Cowboys to have enough success to where McCarthy wouldn't get fired because I just don't fear Mike McCarthy as a coach. Because you saw that game, and something's gonna happen with Mike somehow. Somehow, something ridiculous is gonna happen, and it's gonna be funny. See, I need them to be successful enough to not get him fired, but also not too successful to where they really enjoy themselves.
So a season like this season,
yeah, this was perfect. This was a great tightrope. But I was thinking today about the Sean Payton thing, and it's like, yo, outside of the 2009 Super Bowl, Sean got a lot of playoff stinkers on his resume too. Who
you tell no lies.
Who was the coach when the 7-9 Marshawn Lynch earthquake run happened? That was Sean, right? Like he's got a lot of these.
That was Sean.
But I do think he can raise your quarterback ceiling for sure, right? I mean, he was doing good work with Jameis. He's obviously, him and Breeze had great chemistry. Obviously, I think he can raise the floor of that roster for sure. But I don't know if a full house clean is going to get you anywhere because that roster is still going to be that roster. If that roster offensively is flawed, I don't know where you're going, right? I don't know how you're elevating past the 49ers, who still are going to have everybody back next year, basically, somehow, because they got some sorcery with the cap over there and their drafting ability. I don't know you're elevating past them. I don't know, and I don't know you catch up to the AFC teams either. I don't know what the ceiling on this team is, but the problem is the window is right now. Trayvon Diggs, Michael Parsons are cheap right now. CeeDee Lamb is still cheap. this is your championship. This is your window right here. So whatever move you make, you got to make sure it's the right move. It better be the right one. So if you're gonna clean house, but you better bring the right people in, right? Like if you're gonna fire Kellen Moore, which I think Kellen Moore was. I mean, he was only a hot coaching candidate in Dallas. That was it. That was the only team that was talking about making that coach. Remember that? It was like, Kellen Moore, keep him in house. Okay, can't go for Mike McCarthy. Yeah, that's if Byron Leftwich got fired, he can go too. They got Byron Leftwich out here once bad season with a 40-year-old quarterback. They're like, you got to go.
Man, with Tom Brady washed behind, man, like, come on, dog. Like,
that was wild, right?
I don't want to derail this. I'm not gonna.
We won't, but yeah.
San Francisco, like San Francisco. They talk about, man, San Francisco for who? For what?
Absolutely not.
San Francisco went and drafted Trey Lance because they wanted a quarterback who, when things broke down, could make something happen outside of structure.
Right.
The only thing they should be kicking around Tom Brady's career is the "is he dead" kick. Like there's no reason, none whatsoever, to go from immobile Jimmy Garoppolo to the statue of Tom Brady. No, because if the pocket breaks down, that man was terrified.
Yes.
Like, I'm gonna give you one quick analogy, and we can move on.
Yeah.
In my mid-30s, I play basketball. Basketball is my favorite thing to play. Mid-30s, my homie Marcus invites me. He works at an after-school program. He's like, "Yo, I want you to come hang out, play with some kids, and play, basketball with them. Just kind of hang out, be a good influence, whatever." So I go up there one day. I take off work early. I get off work early. Come up to the school after school to come play with the kids. They had this kid about a sophomore in high school, left hand. He might as well have been James Harden because he is step back, crossover, blow by. He taking me in the paint, posting me up, jump. I can't do anything with him. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's time. Like, you can't play. You need to go pick on someone your own age, Carlos. You can't play with these kids no more. They athletically have surpassed you.
Right.
Tom Brady was looking at the future in his face, and it terrified him. He was pulling a Jimmy Garoppolo, throwing passes while turning his shoulders and closing it. No, bro. Yes. You're going to get yourself hurt or somebody else hurt. It's done. Yeah. I'm sorry. We can continue. We can get back. We can get back to Cowboys.
Yeah, so but it's over. Basically, with Dallas, it's pretty much just, I think you can make some shuffles, but I don't think clean house is going to get it done because I'm not as good as Coach Sean Payton is. It's a lot of playoff stinkers on that man's resume outside that Super Bowl. It is. Like, when you really look at it, it's a lot of that team was the 1-2 seed, didn't make it back, didn't get done, right? Like, and you can say, the one year they had the pass interference thing, that's fair. That's fair. But also it's like, I don't know, it's still a lot of nothing on that resume, man. It is after that.
Yeah. That's he's in that candidate for what one title does for your reputation.
Right.
Like, he's high on that list too, because you're right. There are a lot of stinkers on that list. Oof. Yeah. Okay.
Keep Mike McCarthy. I don't really have to another funny playoff ending. I'm sorry. Keep Mike McCarthy leads to another hilarious playoff ending because, bruh, he's 2 for 2 in Dallas.
I really, so on that, right? So I have another theory that my friends think I'm crazy for. And I say that every team should hire a Madden game coordinator, someone who has played the Malcolm Gladwell approved 10,000 hours or more of Madden, high stakes, for money, for prizes, because they are used to making quick decisions on the fly, right? Because the clock is always moving, right? You don't have 60 minutes. You might have 25 based on how long you decide to play your game.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because we watch coaches who week in and week out consistently blow end of game situations. So case in point, Mike McCarthy, right? That gets sacked on that third down. It's like 240, 250 left in the game.
Yep.
They run 30 seconds. So how is no one in McCarthy's ear saying, "Hey, coach, if this, for whatever reason, sack, tackle inbounds, and we are not in a position to go for it on fourth down, punt team has to sprint out on this field, get set, and punt this ball as quickly as possible to preserve as much clock so that the 49ers are forced, so we can, extend the game, right? We can call timeouts before the 2-minute warning. If we get a 3 and out, we get the ball back maybe a minute 50. Instead, they punt with like 2:15.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Niners get the ball. It's 2:05. They run one play. They get the first down on the first play. Now 2-minute one, and it's just like
it didn't have to be this
it's like
difficult.
every week. It didn't, and you watch Jim Harbaugh in the bowl game. I'm sorry, wait, which way? Jim is the Michigan guy, right? Jim is the Michigan guy.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh in the bowl game act like he was getting them timeouts put on his check and some type of bonus. You watch his brother take notes and do the same thing and waste all that time in their game. You watch Mike McDaniel get like really 50 seconds to call a play. And I saw Dan Orlovsky try to shoot him some bail saying, oh, well, it's calling a play is really, bro.
Nah, B.
It takes 2 seconds to say QB sneak. You see it's 4th and a foot. What are you again?
You've been calling plays all year, dog. Like
and I sit here in my house and I go, I can do this. Like I can listen give me 4 years, $500,000, and I will sit in a booth and I ain't gotta talk the whole game. 2 minutes before, 2 minutes before. No. The last 5 minutes of each half is where I come into play. Hey, coach, this is what we got to be thinking about. This is because obviously somewhere their brains are locking up. Because in that last play, I really want at some point, once some time has passed, I would really love an oral history. A 5,000 word oral history on everyone involved going, what was going through your mind when you saw Mike, Kellen, when you called the play? Tell me, what happened in practice? Hey, Fred Warner, what did you think when you saw Zeke bend over and to hike the ball to the quarterback? And all these guys spread out. I really want to know what everyone was thinking because it's crazy.
I couldn't believe that the 49ers called time out and you see D'Amico Ryans. And I'm like, oh, this ain't gonna work. I saw D'Amico like, this ain't gonna work. Yeah, they're not coming back. I'm like, they're not coming back out in that formation. Surely they won't try that again after a timeout. And they came back and said, no way. It was so crazy. I said, this is so absurd. I want it to work. I was like, I want this to work. This is the absurdity because I need to know what the plan is here. That you're so confident you came back out with that. Because D'Amico clearly told them D'Amico clearly said, go hit everybody. Just hit everybody. And they're like, cool. Because they love to do that. The 49ers defense loves that. They're like, yeah, we get to hit people. It's fun.
Like them brothers went out there and called the annexation of Puerto Rico. And thought that was going to actually work in it. Like, that's what they like. Come on, dog. Come on.
Yeah. But nah, that was great. But who's the best center in football? Ezekiel Elliott or Jason Kelce? Who would you take?
Hey, Zeke's form was nice though. I can't knock the form. The form was nice. Shotgun snap too.
I told him, I said, hey, Kelsey's messed up a shotgun snapper too. Here it is. Zeke didn't do it. Zeke 1-0. Zeke 100% on the shotgun snap.
I just want just take me to practice when they say Zeke. This is what we have to do. And I know Zeke went home and said, "Babe, you won't believe this bull they got us up in here in practice." Like, cause you know they went home and said that. Man, this is some foolishness. What is this?
Nah, like if I'm Zeke, and this is my last play as a Cowboy, we closing the door. I'm getting 45 seconds with Kellen Moore in the office. We're gonna close the door real quick. We're gonna talk. Come out real quick. quick little minute.
Hey, you gotta run my fade.
Yeah, I need
That's
a minute
hilarious. That's hilarious, man.
But yeah,
man, y'all let us know what y'all think about that game, man. Where do the Cowboys go from here? Is Dak the guy that can get them to the next level? Hit us up at Brains and Bars on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can jump in the comments of the video too. So let's get to this. This is what we're here for, right? Like as soon as I couldn't jump on, so I saw you after the game ended, and you had a space going. I couldn't jump in there because I was kind of busy. And you hit me up like, yo, like this is the perfect time, like to jump and collab and do a show together. Niners, Eagles, the final game, which I hate that. Final game of the evening. What's your confidence level going into this game? Let's just start there. If we go 1 to 10, 1 being I'm losing my mind, 10 being we got this. What's your confidence level at?
It's really at about 5.5, honestly. Like, this is such a toss-up because, I mean, you've seen me on timeline for weeks. I've said for weeks, I'm terrified of the 49ers. Please keep me away from the 49ers. I don't want any problems with the 49ers. I don't want that smoke. But now looking at it, it's like, you know what? These are the two best teams in the conference. So let's get it. Let's have fun. Like, I'm good either way, right? winning or losing, I'm excited for this game. I want to see how these teams match up. I want to see what the plans are for each other. But yeah, confidence level is a 5.5. And if I watch that Fred Warner clip of him chasing down CeeDee Lamb one more time, it's going to be about a 3. Because that I can't watch that clip enough. I can't.
That is such like I didn't realize how impressive it was in real time.
Yeah.
I heard Olsen mention like, man, like this is a linebacker running stride for stride with the wide receiver, and it's just like, okay, yeah, but is Maher going to make the field goal? Like
that's in the moment, yeah, you don't have time to celebrate. In the moment, it's like, yo,
yeah. My mind is right, but yeah, watching the clip of that play and watching him run from the opposite hash all the way over to the other one, and then honestly, if he got his head around late. And he turned around, he might have had an opportunity to pick the pass.
Yeah.
Like he was in such good position. And look, also shout out to Dak. He almost got it there. That was, I think I retweeted and I said that was great on great. Right? CD was a beast in that game. Fred Warner, obviously an all-pro. And Dak made an incredible throw in a very tight window that almost got there.
Yeah.
And so like that was a great play, but yeah, man, like after watching that I was like, wow, like that, he's on my team. Like I got that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I'm legitimately excited for this matchup. I just think, like you said, it's been the two best teams in the NFC pretty much since about week probably 5, 6. Because I don't know how long. Yesterday was 33 games in a row or whatever. The 49ers have won straight at this point. Like they just haven't lost in a minute. So it's like, okay, we're here now. So
since the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Since the Chiefs game, I was in the building for that game, by the way. I went to San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
That was a birthday present for myself. Me and the family went out there, and I was in the building, and yeah, it got ugly. It got ugly in the second half of that game. So, but yeah, I think that's week 6. Week 6. So they're at 12. I think they're 12 in a row. 13 in a row. I think they would, if they win this weekend, and next would be 15.
15, yeah. So I'm super excited. I want to see how our defense matches up with the 49ers offense for sure, because Shanahan's going to be doing some smart stuff. I don't know if you know this about Eagles fans. We don't really like Jonathan Gannon like that. We're cheering.
But I feel like
cheering for that man to get that coaching job. See, it is good, right? But the thing is, it's very simple, right? It's not a lot of like the things the Bengals were doing with their players on defense. We don't do a lot of that. It's a lot of, this is our defense. This is what we're gonna run. Go be talented, right? It's not a lot of adjustments and changes in it, which is the thing that Eagles fans don't like. Which is why, hey, hire Jonathan Gannon for your coaching job. That's awesome. Get Jonathan. Take Jonathan Gannon. So yeah, we gotten this far with the coordinator. We don't really trust that much. So this is the type of coach that can exploit a coordinator that you don't believe in, right? Like Shanahan is the type of coach that'll be like, you know what? I got something for you. Don't worry about it. Brock Purdy, Titus, A1, whoever I got at quarterback, I got something for you, Jonathan Gannon. Right? So it's curious, and it's talent on talent, because the 49ers really can do what the Commanders did to the Eagles on that Monday night game in terms of just keeping the football and just you don't get the ball today. Because they had the defense to actually do it. Granted, there were turnovers in that game, but the 49ers defense to top to bottom is better, right? It's just like, hey, you don't get the football. How about you don't get the football for a half? And it's like, okay, sorry.
No, I'm just thinking about what you said about the defense being top to bottom better. I think they're even.
Better than I'm talking about the Commanders defense.
Oh, Commanders. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead. My fault. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I think they're top to bottom better than the Commanders defense. And the Commanders defense had the Eagles looking pitiful for a half. And it was just nasty work out there for that first half of that game. So I think they can follow that blueprint because you got Christian McCaffrey and Debo, who's they're just whatever. They're just mutants. They just play whatever position you want to play. Receiver, running back. Sure, we do what we want because we're that, So I think they have the style that could compete. It's just, can the Eagles defense create enough chaos for Brock Purdy to create enough plays, create enough moments to get balls? Because the thing and the offensive matchup is Jalen Hurts versus Fred Warner. And I'm like, I don't know, bro. If they run head up on each other, the stadium might collapse on some like Dark Knight Rises type stuff, by the way. I don't need that.
Man, them linebackers be running out there like with reckless, and sometimes like Dre Greenlaw, like I feel like at least a couple of times a game, someone probably in the sideline has to tell him, "Hey, bro, like you gotta chill, you gotta just relax, just dial it back just a little bit."
Right.
Because he's good for an unnecessary roughness penalty.
Right.
At least one of
Right.
them.
Right.
But yeah, and I agree wholeheartedly. Like, I think it's going to be a good game.
For sure. For sure.
I think you're right. Like, I think it comes down to me, can the Niners stop their ground attack? Their ground attack is so good. I'm a little salty because I drafted Miles Sanders every year since his rookie year.
Mm.
And it's always been disappointing. And the one year I'm like, you know what? I'm good on Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
I don't want him on my squad this year. It's the year that he actually, shows up,
Right.
shows out. Obviously getting AJ Brown at the receiver, it transformed the offense. It turned Jalen into an MVP candidate because he was throwing to people who look like you and me last year, and it did not go well. And I think I have the same feeling about this game that I have about the Cowboys game, that Brock Purdy is going to be slowed down just enough, and that the defense is going to give up just enough plays to the Eagles offense. Because here's the thing about, as good as the Niners are, they do struggle with quarterbacks who can, what am I looking at? What am I thinking about? They struggle with quarterbacks who are mobile.
Yeah.
They struggled with Jarrett Stidham. They struggled with Jarrett Stidham. They struggled with Dak was able to have some success running the ball. And so if you can move around on them, you can beat them, especially because they play so much man to man. And when you get those linebackers back turn, they need to spy. They need to make sure they spy Jalen a lot.
I'm not gonna. I would just put Fred in the spy all game and just let's see what happens until I don't have to. I feel like because he just ran with CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm just this. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing spy Fred all game on Jalen. We'll see what happens.
And low key, man, like Nick Bosa, he has gotten sacks, or he has not gotten a sack in the playoffs. I'm sorry, he's not gotten a sack in the playoffs. He's gotten a lot of pressures. I need for him to be Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. He's got to get at least one, maybe two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. My confidence level is like a 3. I'm a sports pessimist. I always expect the worst.
I understand.
So that way, if my team, yeah.
Right.
So with that being said, I assume, let's get to the picks here. I assume you are taking Philly.
So I ducked picking on my own show, on Not the Experts. Levi picked the Eagles for me. So but here I think I am gonna pick the Eagles but this is gonna be it's gonna be trenches. This is gonna be them old school, like it's battle in the trenches, because it's the Eagles offensive line versus the 49ers defensive line versus the Eagles defensive line versus everything the 49ers do on offense, which is just whatever they feel like at different points, whatever Kyle Shanahan decides. I'm leaning the Eagles, but I think they need at least 23 points to win. And that's like a lot of points to score on the 49ers. That's so many points. That's a lot of points.
It is.
Every point
feels
like a victory against San Francisco. Like watching them play, I'm legit like, bro, I'm gonna be excited. Every time we get 5 positive yards, I'm gonna be excited. Like, y'all, 5 yards. Because I really just think their defense matches up with what we want to do offensively in the returns of the run game. And the run game sets up the pass game, right? I think the quarterback position might be the 49ers' weakest position, but it's like, how you gonna get to a pass? How you gonna get to that? How you plan on getting there? Huh?
Yeah. So I do think
Hafunga, he's out there always running around.
He has played a lot better. He had a rough stretch at the end of the season, but in the playoffs he's been really good. Now I will say this: the Raiders showed the blueprint of how you attack that defense. You basically have the linebackers have them move side to side, right? So they use a lot of jet sweep motions, like players going in motion at the snap, that you had to honor the fact that they might get the ball on the jet sweep.
Yeah.
And then it opened up the middle of the field and windows behind them because they weren't allowed to get depth in the passing windows. So that concerns me. AJ Brown is a monster. Although, look, I will shout out to Travarius Ward. He was very successful. At least the last time he faced DK was eating his lunch in the playoff game. DK was doing his numbers, but he's been successful against more physical wide receivers. But Devontae Smith he's nice. That's a great number
Right.
2 to have.
Very much so.
Dallas Goedert, right? I mean, like, so, as much as we talk about the weapons of the Niners, the Eagles, conversely, also have a lot of really good weapons that it's going to be. I mean, for the Niners defense, it's going to be their biggest challenge since the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Maybe the Eagles game. I'm not Eagles game. Maybe the Dolphins game because they had Tyreek and Waddle. But at least since that game, where there's just a lot you have to account for. So,
Right.
can the front four get pressure without blitzing, without doing a lot of blitzing that allows those linebackers to wreak havoc on the back end? Like you said, it's going to be big. Like I said, I have not picked the Niners to win a game yet. At some point, Brock Purdy's going to have at least 3/4 of a bad game. He's had a bad half. He has not had a bad 4 quarters, and I just think at some point some defense is going to show him levels. I think the Eagles lead the lead in sacks with 70.
Yes.
And so if they struggle to run the ball, which they did in the first half against the Cowboys, it's going to be a big problem because Hassan Reddick and those guys are coming. Brandon Graham, they're coming. So
I don't know for you, but for me, this feels like a game where whichever one of our teams has lead in the fourth quarter, it's like, okay, the defense is going to handle the rest of this, right? Because I feel like if we're down in the fourth and I see Greenlaw and Warner on the field, I'm like, all right, it's gonna be rough. You gotta go get it somehow.
I think that what's his name? I'm just blanked on his name. I think Jalen has shown enough poise to where I would trust him if it's fourth quarter, 3 minutes left, and they need to tie the game, right? I would trust him. Brock has been in that situation once. He did what he needed to do against the Raiders. He got him in field goal range. Robbie Gould missed the kick. So he's done it once, but this is a different situation, right? And so again, it's just, can he avoid the big mistake? Like I said, he's been incredibly lucky. He's avoided those mistakes. Can he continue to avoid those mistakes? And can he execute Shanahan's offense one more week to get to the Super Bowl, man? I'm hoping that my pick is wrong. But the Eagles have been the best team in the league for a reason, man. And there's been a lot made about who they played and who they haven't played, and you play who's in front of you. And the thing that I'll say about them is that they have mostly dominated bad football teams. Where you can't say that for everybody. The Chiefs haven't always done that. The Bills haven't always done that. The Bengals haven't always done that. The Eagles have consistently done that this year. So
that was my biggest
we'll see what happens, man.
That was honestly my biggest thing coming in this year, because I was talking to my friends. They're like, "Are you confident?" I said, "The thing is, the schedule's not great, but great teams beat bad teams like that. That's what you're supposed to do, right? You don't play around. You get them out of here, right? So that's you playing who's in front of you, and you're handling them. Good. So I got one more question for you before we get out of here. Who do you want to see in the Super Bowl if y'all win? Who are you like? Who would you rather play?
Probably the Bengals, because I can't handle the Chiefs beating the Niners again, because when they beat them in 2019 for 1 year, I got sent memes. That the Jordan crying meme of when they celebrated the touchdown or the interception, I'm sorry, in the fourth quarter, a year straight. I'm having the sports debate with my friends. I'm winning, as I often do, and they can't beat me. Niners crying Jordan meme shows up. That was their go. That was their break in case of emergency. I'm slapping them around in the sports debate, crying Jordan meme.
They go for the low hanging
for no reason. Hey, good morning, crying Jordan meme. Wow. So I would rather face the Bengals.
Understood.
Just so I don't have to. I don't know any Cincinnati Bengals fans. They're not gonna send me no crying Jordan memes.
So my cousin is a Cincinnati Bengals fan. What up, Sean? He's a Bengals fan. So I'll be happy for him. He's been a Bengals fan his whole life. So he had a rule where he was never gonna buy a jersey until a quarterback won a playoff game for them. So bro won a playoff game. He want to buy the jersey next day. It's like, I'm getting the jersey now because he won a playoff game. So I'll be happy for him if we play them. For one, it'll be a fun watch. Two, I don't know. The Chiefs and Eagles played last year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let me read to you this the Chiefs play-by-play. All right. Touchdown, interception, touchdown, touchdown. I don't want that. I'm good, bro. I'm good. Mahomes went 24 for 30, 278 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked 1 time. I'm good on ever playing him again in my life.
I forgot about that. And in Kansas City, that game was kind of poo-poo because the defense was not playing well. So like they struggled with stopping Jalen and getting him down. And the game was like, it was a game for about a half, right? It was a game for sure for about a half, and then the third, and then they kind of hit the NOS in the third and the fourth quarter. So I can man, Mahomes is the boogeyman, bro. Like the game's never over. It's just
no. It wasn't until like 3 minutes left in the Super Bowl. I was like, dang, they're really not coming back, huh? Against the Bucks. I was like, dang, they're really not gonna come back. All right.
And it's not like he wasn't hitting them with passes.
He was incredible in that game. He was amazing. It's not like he wasn't,
bro. He was putting the ball on them, and they just weren't catching it. Yeah.
He ran in 3 circles and hit Tyreek Hill in the face with the football.
When he does the John Wick, the Neo from the Matrix, where he's parallel to the ground and he throws the ball and it hits, I think it was Darrell Williams in the face. It hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Like he threw that parallel, like it's the greatest pass ever. And it wasn't even complete because listen, man. Burrow is great. Allen is great. Herbert is great. Lamar is great. Jalen is great. Brady's great. They're not Mahomes. We can just end it on that note. And then here's A Ward in the comments at the end.
What's up, Ward?
You're not sorry. You're not sorry. You're not sorry. Yo, man, but that's been our show, man. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know who y'all got for this NFL championship weekend. Hit us up at Brains and Bars on Facebook and Twitter, IG as well. Titus, I want to thank you for stopping by, for sharing your time with us. I would love to be on Not the Experts. Let me know. Yeah. I'll be there time and place, and I'm there, man. I would love to be there with you guys. If you guys record, live stream or anything like that. I love to join in. He is Titus from LTBR. You guys, is it LTBR.com or Let's Talk BattleRap.com?
Let's Talk BattleRap.com.
Let's Talk BattleRap.com. He's got an article went up this week about Murder Mook, 5 potential opponents. All interesting names. Go check that out. Also, Franz dropped a new article today about Matt Myron signing a 2-year deal with URL. I know some of the staff will be in the building for the I'm Outside event. Forgive me, I don't know the name. Name of the
outside.
Outside. URL's outside event going down this weekend. Some of the staff will be out for that to give you guys recaps of what happened there. The PKChronicles.com, Not the Experts. You can find that anywhere that podcasts are available.
Right. Yep, anywhere. Yep. Follow us on IG at NTE Podcast, TikTok NTE Podcast, all the socials NTE Podcast. You'll find us. Yeah, man. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir, man. Until next time, it's been a Black and White thing. Also, I am awordmerch.com. You guys take it easy. Enjoy this weekend's games, and we'll come to you next week. It's okay to not be okay. Shout out to the homie board, man. I love that. Y'all have a good evening.